Hey everyone, this is Sonic Boom 94 here, and I'm going to do a quick review. And this one is of Stephen King. What is it? Thinner. Ah, good old Stephen King, the master of horror writing. He's written many good books over the years, like Carrie, The Shining, Salem's Lot, and It, as well as the Dark Tower series, and more recent books. However, there was a time when people thought that there was too much Stephen King. There were more demand for more books of his. So he decided to go under a pseudonym. In other words, he became Richard Bachman. Bachman was mainly just a scheme of his... Oh, sorry, not scheme, that sounds too harsh. More or less a way for him to come up and release more books without people actually knowing it was him. So really, he wrote some more books through this way. Thinner is one of them. Thinner is actually an interesting book and film. Really, because even though it does involve gypsies, it has a premise that's actually never been done before. It's about Billy Halleck, an overweight lawyer who accidentally runs over the daughter of an incredibly old gypsy, 109 years old. Why? Not that he hates her, but his wife gave him a blowjob. Yeah, his wife gave him a bit of special delivery, which is a bit stupid when he's driving a car. In any case, he manages to get off due to his with an old git friend, a judge, and his sort of laid-back / reckless friend who's also a cop. He feels that he hasn't done anything bad, even though he knows that he did stuff that was bad. I would love to call him an arch enemy, but anyway, the old gypsy goes up to him and touches him, saying, "Sir, thinner," on the cheek. And at first, Billy's bewildered, but he gradually realizes that he's losing two pounds a day. But this worked for Billy because he is a very portly fellow. I say portly, he's about 300 pounds. But in any case, it's good for him, and it's good for his wife. Unfortunately, he realises that the weight won't stop, even when he consumes vast quantities of food that he's always been eating. Then he realises that maybe the gypsy has something. Maybe he has done something to him. And it's up to Billy to track down the old gypsy man before he is erased. Now, as I said before, the premise is original, and it is brilliant, because the movie, like the book, is very long, and it does this through just the pacing. It starts off, at first he's not really in any danger, but then he does get into it through the amount of weight he's lost, and you feel a bit of tension coming up. And as it progresses, you realise how thin he's actually become. The actor playing him starts off wearing many suits in order to create the illusion of losing weight. And yeah, it's really disturbing to see he loses almost 200 pounds. At a probable estimate of nearly 200 pounds. So he goes from this to this. He goes from a very morbidly obese fellow to a skeleton. That is creepy. But still, it's not just the special effects that make this movie, it's the actors. Now, the actors in this movie just make this film feel alive. We have Robert John Burke, who plays Billy, and really, in my opinion, the casting for him couldn't be done any better. He makes it feel like that he is this man who goes through a lot of physical and mental pain through all of this, and really, there's always got to be the definitive actor you would imagine playing this role. With Robert John Burke's performance, as well as his appearance, that couldn't come at any greater opinion. Then we have Joe Mantegna, Yep, Mantegna. If you know the name, or if it does sound familiar, he's the one who played Fat Tony in The Simpsons. Actually, it's ironic that he plays a mafia boss. So really, Joe here takes a really good pride in going through the Italian gangster typecast. Really, he almost steals the show. I mean, there's one line, you see him early in the film at the case that Billy's using, and yeah, you see him in the later half of the film as an assistant for Billy, and wow, Joe goes mental on all the gypsies. His character is Richie the Hammer Ginelli, and my god, he is like one of the best characters in this film, where there's a scene where he's driving a car, and Billy, who, as we all remember, has progressively become Finn, says, "You're enjoying this, aren't you?" And what's Joe's reply? "Enjoying it? I'm fucking loving it." That line is so cool. I mean, he does everything. He tries shooting at people. He holds one of them hostage. He tricks them, and he makes out to the great granddaughter of the old gypsy man that he got a bottle of acid. Then we have the antagonist, Michael Constantine playing Tadzu Lemke. Now, yeah, Michael Constantine's performance is kind of funny. I mean, he plays this Romanian old man, about 109 years old, and it's funny that sometimes throughout this film he sounds either Romanian or sort of French, but really he makes it feel as if, you know, he feels wise and vengeful beyond his years. And yeah, again, it's like with Robert John Burke, the casting couldn't be any better. Of course, there are also the supporting characters, like Lucinda Jenny, who plays Heidi, Billy's wife. She just becomes increasingly worried about Billy, especially when he realises that the gypsies put a curse on him, but she won't believe it. Yet, there's a subplot in the film about her having an affair with a doctor, Dr. Mike Houston, played by Sam Freed, but it's never really clarified whether or not she does have an affair, or whether or not it's just Billy's paranoia. Really, she plays a sort of neutral character. She doesn't do anything good or bad. She doesn't help Billy in any way, but she does want to send him over to a clinic only because she just worries about his safety. You have Bethany Joy Lenz as Linda Halleck. She doesn't do much in this film. She's okay. Yeah, she's okay. I can't really say anything else. The rest of the cast are good, and the special effects. There are two instances of bodily special effects apart from the fat suits, or should that be fat to fin suits. There are two other people in the film and the book who get cursed by the gypsy. There's a judge, Kerry Rosington, who becomes a lizard. And the best thing about the scene where you're being told he's lizard is that you never see him. You never see him, so you just have to imagine it, especially in the book. And that's horrifying, and it's brilliant. It's one of those scenes where you just feel all ugh, as well as just wondering, I wonder what he looks like. In the film, you do see what Billy thinks is him during a nightmare sequence. Doesn't look like a lizard, but still, not a bad job. He's got scales around his face, and he looks weird. And okay, yeah, you'd think that they'd have done a better job trying to make him look like a lizard, but then again, this is supposed to be a dream sequence from Billy's point of view, who hasn't even seen Carrie as a lizard, so how's he supposed to know what he looks like? And of course, the other cursed person is the police officer who helped Billy get out, Duncan Hopley, played by Daniel von Bargen, and my God, this is enough to make you go off your lunch. It's got, the amount of detail they put into having this horrific case of acne is just, wow. I mean, he's got stuff everywhere. Hands, face. I mean, he hands Billy a gun at one point, in the only time you see his cursed form, and he's got these massive ones on his hand, and it's just really, ugh. But it's brilliant. The special effects are brilliant, the cast is brilliant, but what about the story? Well, the story is, again, it's unheard of by the time the book and film came out, and yet the subplot in the film, I don't think that would have been necessary. I mean, throughout the film, it's been a very faithful adaptation of the book, but sometimes you're going to have moments where the film deviates itself from the book. But, yeah, I think the subplot thing was kind of a mixed reaction. I mean, with the whole affair subplot is never really clarified, and it never really has conclusion, it's just there. But, in any case, it doesn't matter. The rest of it is just good. The horror, the tension, build up, the pacing is fantastic. And I know that people have said that it's not a good film. Fine, absolutely fine. It's their opinion, not mine. I consider this a good movie, and I consider it to be just one of my favourites. Oh, here's one really corny thing about when this film was released in the 1990s, back in 96. Here's the tagline: more terror, less filling. You don't get any of those cheesy taglines anymore. By God, I wish they did. Oh yeah, about this cover, this poster. Okay, you see on one side, he's fat. On the other side, he's a skeleton. Spoilers, but he never does end up looking like there's no flesh left on him. But, really, I don't care. I mean, it's just there to show horror. Thinner is one of Stephen King's less known works, and by God, it's underrated. This is Sonic Boom 94, signing off. And remember, don't get a blowjob from your wife, guys, or you may end up getting screwed around by an old gypsy.